BEEX project is a no-profit foundation about visual art and photography. If you want to help us, just drop a donation on buymeacoffee.com/BerlinExplorer. So, welcome to this 50 minutes of experience. Today I'm with Rodrigo Coscarelli Lodi. Welcome, Rodrigo.
Thank you so much, Emiliano.
It's your pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you here. And as you told me, your English is not really good. I want to say that to the listeners. And this is a pleasure more because you are trying to speak a language is not your. And so today we talk about your experience as not only as a photographer, but also as an artist, also because you are you're writing poetry, and this is so nice. And so let's start to talk about first of who you are. If you can introduce a bit yourself, what is your roots, and then we can go up of that.
Okay, so well, I'm a Brazilian writer. I'm a poet, but I have a passion about the world. I just like to travel a lot and meet new cultures, and I just travel to see the place, but to touch the places and the people, to understand the culture, and I always try to do that. Of course, now with this COVID situation, it's not being possible to travel abroad. But anyway, it's just a passion I have. And I was always writing about the places I visit. But suddenly I was feeling like I need something more. And that's how I started to try to develop some skills in photography. I always had a passion for photography, but I always saw it like something very, very far apart from my skills. But I said, okay, let's give it a try, because I need to show the things that I'm, not the things that I'm seeing, but the things that I'm feeling. Because I think photography, it's an art interpretation of what you see. It's not exactly what you see, but what you're feeling right now in that moment. And I felt that writing was a part of it, but not. But I couldn't. I could made myself completely clear just by writing. So I decided to try to understand better the principles of photography and try to develop myself as a photographer. And that's how it started. I don't consider myself like a real photographer, pro photographer, but a passionate photographer more than an amateur photographer.
Yeah, in some podcasts I've talked also about this topic, and I was asking what is the difference between an amateur and a professionist. If you keep going to doing something for most of your life, I don't see any differences. The only difference is how much you get from that in money value, we can say. But
sure.
We are not here to looking how much money someone can do it with photography. I have seen photographers. They are probably better than a lot of master photographer in the world, and they was keeping them picture inside of them archive in them houses, and never showed this picture to anyone. And yeah, I have a reference of a guy I met when I was 18 years old, and he was traveling 6 months around the world, and 6 months he was working in Naples. And yeah, the picture of him was so incredibly poetic, beautiful. I never seen a picture like that anymore in my life. And yeah, and I see a lot of photographer every day. So, and the powerful, of these images, how he was getting in touch with some cultures. For me, touched myself a lot, and then I can say, yeah, there is no differences between to be a photographer, to be a human. I mean, in the end, we are all humans, and yeah,
Yeah,
we can be photographer, poet, we can be everything. We can work in every kind of situation, and this is the true part that every human being can learn almost everything. So we are also subject influenced from the states we are putting ourselves. So
sure.
it's, I think this is a topic really important to talk about, because um, yeah, we are used to give label to the people in base of how they get money from.
Sure.
And sometimes there are some kind of arts don't provide us money. I mean, we can keep an example of Van Gogh. No, it's one of the artists
Yeah.
most knows today in the world, that yeah, he was not getting any money when he was doing the painter when he was alive, and that's one of the things to keep just this metaphor, no?
Yeah,
So
really important what you said, Emiliano, because that's a decision I made some years ago when I decided to be an artist. Because so a lot of friends of mine, they were struggling really hard because they had to make money to survive. So they were doing things that they really didn't appreciate doing. And then they were saying, like, especially when I became a photographer, my photographers and my they're pro photographers. They're telling me, okay, I kind of envy you because you do what you like, and we can't do what we like. We have to do what other people like. So it's really an important question about the liberty of being an artist. And I think if you're not stuck to the money issue, I mean, you can do whatever you feel, wherever you want. You might not be recognized now, maybe never, but it really doesn't matter because you're doing something that makes you feel good and maybe makes other people feel good about it.
yeah, it's like that. So
Yeah.
to go on in our conversation, I've seen you visited some places in the world that are probably
Yeah.
a dream for many, maybe for not for many, but
Not for many.
for me for sure. I
Sure.
mean, yeah, you was in Patagonia, you was in
Yeah.
Antarctic, you was in Morocco, you was in many places in the world, really attractive and really touchable. You can see in every sense of humanity, of natures, and I can imagine, yeah, you do it not principally for photography, these places, but this travel, but for your pleasure. And then you had the occasion to take some photograph from that um, travel you did. But some of these photographs you did are not really of a tourist eyes. And that's
Yeah.
what is, I think, is nice, that you tried. I can see in some picture you touched the life of other humans in a way. You get in touch with them. And can you share with us just one of this moment was really powerful for you in one of these travel you did?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think one of the most important things, you have to understand the place you're in. You just can't be there and start snapping pictures all over the place. You have to know the people, have to know the culture. Of course, yeah, you don't have all this time every time you're traveling, but I always try to do that. So when I get someplace, um, let's say I went to Xingu. I don't know if you're familiar with Xingu. Xingu is a place in Brazil where most Indian tribes are located. It's an isolated place. You can't go there unless you're invited by the natives. And so it's really a hard place to get, even for Brazilians. It's not easy to be there because not many people are welcome there. But I have a very good friend who has been with this people, these tribes, from most of his life, and he invited me to go with him. And what I did was, when I got there, I say, okay, I'm here. I'll be here for about 10 days, so I'll not take pictures right now. I just want to be with them and get to know them. So I put my camera away, and for 2 or 3 days, I was just living the life with them. So I was going fishing, hunting, doing whatever they were doing, trying to feel part of it. And then on the third or fourth day, I started to take pictures, and it's really very different, because you kind of understand better what they are doing. They are more comfortable with you. So it's a totally different experience. I'm not just documenting something. It's like I'm documenting the feeling, and you feel more like you don't have just to. It's not journalism. Okay, I gotta take pictures of whatever they are doing, but you start to being more poetic about the pictures, and try to get the feeling of the place. So that's basically the principle. We have, of course, a very famous photographer there is from my state, Sebastião Salgado.
Yeah.
And he also he always says the importance of trying to feel the location you're in. And of course, he has been able to stay in some place for 4 or 5 months, and most people can't do that. I can't do that. But it's really important, even if you're there for 1 day or 2 days. So okay, I'm not taking pictures of everywhere, but when I take pictures, I'll try to do my best to get the feeling of this place. So everywhere I've been, that's the basic principle I have. I have a passion about Africa. Actually, I'm going to be publishing a book about Ethiopia. There will be poetry and photographs about Ethiopia, and there are many things being said about Ethiopia, but not many people understand the culture, the feelings of the people, and I tried to my best to do that when I was there. And that's the basic principle for me. Try to understand the people. Try to live for very brief moments the life they are living. Now, some experience like in Nieder, I've been able to stay on a lady's house. She had lost her son, and she said he was about my age when he was killed. And she invited me to her home. I stayed there for 3 days, and it was an amazing experience. And I'll be able to attend a wedding. It was great. I mean, it's basically, it's even more important than the photographers you take to live these moments. So I guess basically art is just an excuse for you to understand and to feel the world as it is.
Yeah, sure, sure. It's totally. I mean, art for me is a word totally has no sense. I think. I mean, it's a word is in my life from the moment I was born, and had never a sense really clear for me, and I never use it a lot. I touch much more the feel that that especially in photography we use the tool. We are the tool. I think this is my way to think. We are the tool,
Yeah,
and we use other tool just to get in touch with stuff we cannot easily get in touch with our main tool as our body and our soul. And for the rest, for me, art can be everything. Art for me can be also the fat woman on the pancake eating every
yeah,
day. You know, so for me, it can be everything, and it's everything in way of how you sell that, because in the end, art come from for sure also a way of an old way of marketing. So that's I mean the art word was created to describe the homework of some particular people in the past was working for the king. And yeah,
yeah.
I think in the end it's describe a lot of what we have and we don't have in our conception of the world. But to jump out from this topic, just because I like also poetry. I also wrote poetry for some years.
Oh, great.
I would love to ask you if you can easily now find out a poetry you wrote and you can read us.
Oh my God! Well, there is a problem about that. It's because I write in Portuguese, and one of the hardest things there is try to translate a poetry.
Now, without translating, I mean, poetry is
Without
poetry.
translating.
Yeah,
Yes. So, okay. I'll get one then
yeah.
for us.
Take one you have there.
And I hope you like the sound of it, because I know you.
I like the Portuguese, so in general, so it's,
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, well, I have one in Spanish, and I guess Spanish could be better for. I mean, for some people, there are more people speaking Spanish than Portuguese certainly in the world. So let's
pick
try.
the one you want. You are free.
Yeah, okay. So I'll try. I'll try to do this one. It's called Pasionaria. It says something like this: Tú caminas por una barca de pies y relicarios, una pasionaria bailando abstracta y lunar por las brisas. Un tango soplando su cuerpo moldea en la esperanza una silueta levemente azul, profunda, pasional, vestido de constelaciones. Tú induces mi llanto y me agasajas en sus panos de pérgolas. Después se diluye de un aliento como un murmullo devoto que elige los sentidos y se levanta inmensa al futuro. Altar de piedras y cristal. Tú, un curso, una luz infalible, un sigilo imposible y sinuoso de amor. Tú, una santería.
Amazing.
That's it.
Amazing. I mean, I understood because it's my knowledge of Italian and Spanish. So
yeah, they are pretty close, right? Italian and Spanish, they are very, very similar to each other.
It's really nice the way you composed the metaphor also inside of that.
Yeah, well, you said something about the poetry being like a woman in the streets, and that's how I write poetry. I use this specific moment. I was in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, and I just sat on a cafe, and I stayed there just for about the whole afternoon, and watching people go by. Then I start to write, and that's it. So
yeah,
I try to imagine. Yeah.
I totally know the feeling. I mean, when I started to write poetry, I stopped to take picture because I was not really in picture anymore. I was not able to take in picture in that period, or I was not catching what I wanted to catch. And I started to just doing this exercise with myself. I was taking just a whole page of blank and writing every words for everything I was seeing and was capturing my attention. And then I thought I stop when the blank page was full of words, and doing something else for 1 hour, and then after 1 hour getting again on the page, watching the page, and getting from the page the words was coming out from the page, to my attention. And from these words, trying the connection between them to create a metaphor to express something I was imagining. So creating image inside of my mind using the influences from the influences outside got it before.
Great.
So I mean the powerful of the poetry and this is interesting because is an art that combined with the photography. It's really good because also photography is a way to write poetry. For that we can say the origin of the name of the photography is writing with the light, no? So it's and in a way we create metaphor because no one can really receive the same emotion and feeling we had in the moment we took a picture, but we can give another composition, another grammatic to read our life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what is on my profile, my photography profile. I've written that it's just a poet faking lights, which is I'm just trying to by seeing the lights, I try to create my own lights, my way of seeing them and of writing them. And that's the way I see myself more than a photographer.
I mean, I was interested in you as a human and not in you as only photographer. So I thank you so much. I thank you a lot for your time and for your work.
Thank you, Emiliano. Thank you.
And this was Rodrigo. You can see the link in the description to visit him and to read the poetry of him or translating if you want. And thank you a lot for your time. I hope you have a great time. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Learn more about our project at allmylinks.com/BerlinExplorer or visit our Instagram and follow BerlinExplorer project.